You know that saying that politicians do nothing but waste time and money? Well, apparently, this is one of the things that probably inspires people to say things like that. Hey everyone, this is Kevin the Apptrepreneur, and it seemed like just a few days ago, maybe it was a few days ago, or sometime it was last week, I think, where we were, of course, discussing the tragic situation of that college girl who got into a car that she thought was her Uber, that she thought was an Uber in general, and unfortunately, she was killed by a driver who had nefarious purposes. Now, here's the sad thing about it. He definitely had bad intentions from the get-go. He had the child safety locks on. He wasn't displaying any Uber Lyft signage, which is strange. He was, in some ways, the laziest Uber imposter in the world. All he had to do was drive up to the curb and wait for someone to get in. That is how comfortable we are with Uber and Lyft. But there's a reason when we were being raised, our parents said, don't get into a stranger's car. I mean, it's kind of become a joke now, meme if you will, where it's like back then we taught our kids not to get into strangers' cars. How do you get from point A to point B? You get into a stranger's car. I mean, it's funny until you realize it really is that, and it kind of makes us a little complicit with everything. Now, one of the proposals that was put forth in South Carolina was a bill that would require that all Uber and Lyft drivers actually have illuminated signage to show that they are Uber and Lyft drivers. A point that I was kind of like, yeah, that's not going to work. It's not going to work because anyone can buy these signs from eBay or Amazon, and it doesn't matter. If that actually kind of gives like a signal that if you want to pose as an Uber or Lyft driver, make sure to have these things, otherwise it might be considered suspicious. But it's going through because the House approved it. It's not signed into law yet, but let's look at this. So, legislation aimed at helping people find their Uber ride passed the House on Tuesday, less than 2 weeks after the killing of a University South Carolina senior who got in the wrong vehicle. The bill requires drivers for Uber and other ride booking companies to put an illuminated sign in their window in hopes that it could help connect riders to the correct drivers. It is named after 21-year-old Samantha Josephine, who was slain after leaving a 5 Points bar at around 1:30 a.m. March 29th. Quote, what this bill seeks to do very plainly is increase the distance the rider can start the verification process, said Representative Micaiah Caskey, a Republican, West Virginia, a co-sponsor, adding those little black stickers in Uber and drivers' windows aren't easily visible at night. Okay, let's stop for a second. This is what one of those little black stickers look like. Not very black, is it? It's it's pretty bright. What's the current sticker they have? Yeah, that's the current sticker they have. What did they used to have? Oh yeah, that's what they used to have. But we haven't used that in a long time. But either way, most of the stickers have been white and very bright. So I don't know what... Clearly someone hasn't taken an Uber in a while. Anyway, the 99-1 vote came despite pushback from Uber, who flew in executives last week to put brakes on the bill after the House voted unanimously to let it skip the committee process. Now, that should say a lot right there. So much. Now, here's the thing. I do stress this bill will not do anything. If it becomes law, it will not help anyone. You still have to check the app. You have to check the license plate number. You have to check the driver. You have to check all these things. But it's saying something that Uber, who is, of course, very, very concerned about safety. Safety is their number one priority. They quickly came to put the stops on a safety bill. Even though they know that it's a safety bill that won't even do anything. Heck, the fact that it's not going to do something, they should be actually campaigning it because it means, hey, we can show that we're actually trying to be safe without actually being safe. And yet, nope. If it says safety on it and it says Uber on it, they just have to oppose it. The timing meets a critical deadline for advancing from one chamber to another, meaning it could still become law before the session ends next month, though Senate rules make it easy for opponents to block bills. Quote, we have some safety concerns about the legislation as currently written and hope to work collectively with the South Carolina legislator to put safety first, said Evangeline George, a regional Uber spokeswoman. Lighted ride booking logos already exist, but Uber doesn't want the state to require its drivers to use them. Why? What's the big deal? The company argues the lights could create a false sense of security for riders, especially since people wanting to do harm can buy fraudulent versions online. Well, yes, that is true. Uber instead is pushing for people to check information already sent through the app, including the license plate number and the driver's photo, and for riders to ask the driver, what's my name, to ensure there's a match before getting in the vehicle. In all fairness, they have a point. They give so much information for you to determine whether or not this is your Uber driver or not. And they've had it for years. And I talked about this quite extensively in a live stream in that video. And most people in the comments of my videos have even acknowledged that, look, we feel sorry for the girl. Our heart breaks for the family. It really does. But she got in the car willingly. And she wasn't paying attention, and that was a huge red flag. Now, of course, granted, we don't want to victim blame, and yes, the guy had nefarious purposes. He did have the child safety lock on. So clearly he did what he did, because if he had no bad intentions, he would have just said, lady, you're in the wrong car, I think. And yet, I mean, because here's the thing, it happens. I still have my Uber and Lyft stickers on the window shield, the old classic ones. And once in a while, someone will actually try, opening the door. It's like, can I help you? It's like, you're my ride. Like, no, I'm not your ride. But so, there's that hassle. But you got to check your app. You got to check the driver's license. And yeah, asking the driver, what's my name? That's a good thing. It's kind of funny how now this has become a thing, when for a long time, I would go to pick people up and I would say, what's your name? Or, and they would say, well, what's your name? Because clearly they're trying to get a free ride. And it's like, no, not how this works. Who called me? And actually, one of the funniest stories was this guy came up. He's like, I'm like, what's your name? He's like, well, what's your name? It's like, that's not how it works. Who called me? It's like, well, I don't know why that's important. It's like, because I need to get the ride. He's like, well, cancel me. I don't want to go with a racist cracker like you, because he was black, unfortunately. And I went to the app, I pressed the call. He's like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm calling the person who called right. Well, he's like, well, you don't need to call me. And someone picked up. It's like, hello. It's like, hi, this is your Uber driver. Where are you? It's like, oh, I'm over here. And I said, oh, okay. And I'll be on the way. And I kind of frowned at him, and he's like, get the F out of here. And it's like, so people will screw you with the name thing, but I guess that's a little different. That's just someone trying to get a free ride. But the what's my name thing is usually a good thing. But this is this is a weird one, because it's like, I mean, I guess it could work both ways. If the customer says, what's my name? But that's the problem with the Uber drivers, because the way that people scam rides from Uber drivers is that they go up to the driver and they say, what's my name, or who are you looking for? The Uber driver says, I'm looking for Leslie. And whether their name is Leslie or not, they say, well, that's me. And before you know it, you've got a wrong passenger. So that's not a solution either. It really isn't. And yeah, it's going to be really tough to figure out how to fix this problem. So here's the thing. The light is Seth Rose said the light is an initial step that this may be a ride. It's not the end all be all. The issue at heart is we need better verification. It might be a ride. Whoa, what do you know? He's actually admitting his own bill. Hey, this might not actually work. Have other alternatives to confirm your ride. Yeah, no kidding, Sherlock. He also notes fraudulent lights won't come with Uber's color matching technology. Yeah. Uber began rolling out the glowing beacon more than 2 years ago. The color changes to whatever the rider chooses when confirming a pickup, according to the company's website. And actually, why doesn't the bill say that they have to provide beacons for everyone, regardless how many rides they do? That might actually hit Uber in the pocket, encourage them to keep safe drivers around, and there, you can get your little illuminated light thing going. So why not? So anyway, anything else here? This bill is not going to be a panacea. Panacea, I believe that's how it's pronounced. This is not going to fix all the problems in the world. What's my name remains one of the most important steps riders can take to protect themselves. Yeah, but again, drivers will probably have issue with that, because a fraudulent rider will go up, and no matter what name you say, hey, it's them. So there you go. The lone no vote came from freshman Representative Mandy Kimmons, Republican Ridgeville, who agreed with arguments that the bill could lure riders into hopping into a vehicle with a light without checking the app. Could. 5 ride booking companies are authorized to operate in South Carolina. Uber has by far the most drivers with 13,000 on its rolls of last year. Number 2, Lyft had less than half. Separate legislation filed last Thursday would require those drivers to have license plates on the front of the vehicle so riders can more easily check the plate number on the app with the vehicle pulled up. I thought that was standard everywhere. I guess not. South Carolina is among 19 states that require only a rear license plate. Oh, okay, that explains it. Oh, well, okay. Let's see here. While in Aiken on Monday, University of South Carolina President Harris Pastides said the school will award a posthumous degree to Josephson, a New Jersey native who was set to attend law school at Drexel University in Philadelphia this fall. That's nice of them. So anyway, yeah, this is funny in the sense that these politicians know this bill isn't going to work, and they're going to go forward with it anyway. Again, this is what politicians do sometimes. Something bad happens. There is an expectation for them to act. And what do? Okay, well, let's do this. I mean, that'll be an action. That'll show that we're doing something when it's really not doing something. And even they're admitting in this case that it won't do anything. Of course, Uber's there to, disagree. I mean, I would like to see Uber actually, give us some solutions. Again, the QR code thing has been floating around. That seems to make the most sense right now. The only problem is, of course, it takes away the ability of some seniors who might not use smartphones to get an Uber ride and some people who are having their ride called for them. Otherwise, the driver shows the QR code, the rider scans it, whoever's turns green, they get in the car. So that seems to be the most logical, but it's still flawed from a business perspective on Uber's end because they don't want to cut those people out of the platform. But I leave the question to you guys. What do you think about this? Do you think this is going to be effective? Do you think it's a total waste of time? I'd love to know. Comment below, like, favorite, share, subscribe. If you enjoy my videos, consider becoming a Patreon member. It's totally optional, but even as little as $1 a month goes a long way to helping the channel run smoothly, and you'll get access to my Patreon exclusive blog. Don't forget to download the Gas app for free gas. That link is below. Also, check out Apptrepreneur Vlogs. It's my other YouTube channel. More content is coming on a weekly basis. And if you want to talk with me or any other rideshare riders, check out Apptrepreneur's Hangouts on Facebook. You have to be approved to join, but we've been approving most everyone. So, there's a good chance you'll get approved. And as always, flame responsibly. Have a good one. By the way, do you like the new outro visuals? Kind of a nice touch, huh?